Hello everyone, my name's Bethan. I'm one of the Baltic freelance artists, and usually we would be working together in the Baltic making some artwork together. Unfortunately, because the Baltic is closed, today you get to make some artwork with me in my studio. The artwork we're going to make today is inspired by an artist called Abel Rodríguez, who would have been showing at the Baltic. Now, Abel makes amazing artwork. He's kind of paintings inspired by the Amazon rainforest, which he grew up in. So he's a Colombian artist. And when he was a child, his uncle would take him through the forest and teach him all about plants, all about the different names and the things that you could use plants for. So he grew up with this amazing kind of knowledge of the forest. And he now uses his artwork to tell the stories of the forests and the plants that you can find there. But he does it all from his memory. Now, this is a really good thing for us because maybe we can think about the places that we usually like to go to, the forests or the trees or the plants that we like to see, and we can use that as inspiration for making our artwork. And the artwork that we're going to make today is this. We're going to make our own pop-up rainforest. So you might not have seen the magic in there. If I turn it round, you'll see that when you open it up, you get a whole rainforest appearing. So we'll talk through first of all, we'll talk through the materials that you're going to need to make your own rainforest. And then I will do some little close-ups and I'll talk you through the simple steps of how to make this. So the first thing you're going to need is some paper. Now, if you don't have coloured paper, you can use white paper. That just means you have to decorate it. Or if you have card, that's even better just because it's a little bit stronger. But paper, normal printer paper will do as well. Then you'll need some scissors, my tool of choice. You will need a pencil and some colouring pencils. And then you'll need some little scraps of paper. And this is to sort of do the collaging, the bits of detail that you'll find in my rainforest. Or you might want to use things like magazines and newspaper bits. As well, I also thought about the patterns and textures because in Abel's work, he really sort of makes tiny little beautiful marks in all his rainforest to really get the texture and colours that you find in a rainforest. So I was having some fun yesterday doing a bit of painting, which hopefully you guys have been doing at home. And I really like painting with my fingers. So I thought about maybe preparing some of my coloured bits of paper with some printing. So I used my fingers for that, some big finger splodges. And I'll use them later, you'll understand what they're for. I also wonder if some of you have some maybe little brothers or sisters or even parents that are quite good at scribbling. And I think scribbling's a really, really nice way to get some textures, to think about leaves and petals, but in a really fun way. So I also sort of prepped those. So maybe you guys could work as a family to sort of prep some of your materials to give you these really nice colours and textures. So I'll zoom in now and show you how to do it step by step. Good luck. Now we are ready to start. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold our paper in half like this, corner to corner. Now the neater you make it at this point, the easier it will be and the neater it will look at the end. So if you try and match those two corners together and give it a really good fold, a good press along the fold. And then keeping that fold, the bit that you've just pressed down facing you, you're going to take your ruler. And you're going to find the number 5 on your ruler here. And you're going to place the ruler with the flat edge nice and straight along your the fold. And you're going to draw straight up to that 5. Draw one straight line. Then you're going to slide your ruler along about, I would say, about a nice finger width apart. Like that, do you see? A nice finger width apart, and then draw another line. So you'll end up with 2 lines, just like this, each 5 centimetres deep. 5 centimetres deep. Then you will take your scissors and you will cut those 2 lines. You're just going to go straight up, 1, 2, 3, and then stop at the line, and then again, 1, 2, 3, stop. So you're just going to cut 2 straight lines. Quite often people have the temptation to cut across and join those 2 lines there, but you're not going to do that. You're just going to keep it like this with these 2 lines, and then putting it back down on the table, you're going to lift up that little slot that you've just cut and you're going to press it down nice and flat like that, and then fold it back And then if you open up your card, you'll see that you've got this kind of slit in here. So if you grab it and pinch it between your fingers, you end up getting what is basically the mechanism of your pop-up book. So if I press that down, give it another good fold, there we go. We have the pop-up. So now is the fun bit when we get to decorate our forest. Now before I start showing you how to do that, I thought I also might show you this one. Now this is another one that I've just started making because I'm a little bit obsessed with pop-up cards. And it's exactly the same technique as I've shown you, but what I've done is this middle piece, is the 5 centimetre slot that we cut. But this one I cut about 3 centimetres, and this one I cut about 2 centimetres. The idea is that when you, I'll just show you that, a little bit like that, when you cut them and fold them just as we've done, you end up getting 3 different levels. So you have one really out far at the front, then you have one further back and another one further back, and it just means that if you make a pop-up card like this, you can either do just one centrepiece or lots of different levels to give you that kind of depth that you get in a forest. So now it's the time for the decorating, and when I make my pop-up cards I always think about the backdrop first, and then I save the star of the show to this little bit, to this step on the front. So for me, when I'm thinking about a forest, I'm thinking about there being lots of kind of trees and trunks in the forest. So first of all, I started cutting lots of little strips, and I might glue them down. So just use a little bit of a glue stick, and I might stick that down. I also might think about drawing some sort of tree shapes. Now children draw the best trees. Adults, we always try and get it perfect, but kids, you guys think far more creatively. So don't worry about doing a perfect tree. Think about those favourite trees that you won't be able to see for a little while. Think about your forest. Think about some imaginary plants even that you'd love to find out maybe outside next time you go for a walk. And you're basically cutting out these kind of tree-like shapes and just sticking them on. So before I stick mine down, I always kind of play about with them a little bit like a jigsaw. See, do I want this one here? Do I want it there? And I kind of just work on, and basically I'm just working on the back bit here, the back page. So as you can see, just on this one, I'm thinking about putting loads of different layers onto this flat piece. This is also a really nice time to think about decorating those bits that I was talking about scribbling on. So I've just got a piece of coloured card here, and I'm just going to go, and then I might want to do some spots and some dots and some dashes, and just thinking about getting some texture to make these amazing imaginary trees that we might remember. And then once I've done some scribbling, that's when I'm just going to cut out some sort of leafy type shapes, so that you end up getting not just solid blocks of colour like this, but you end up getting sort of nice textured, colourful, pattern filled pieces. Also, these pieces are really good for the bark of a tree, so you might want to cut a nice long trunk out, or you might want to go and try and cut some nice branches out. And the best thing about this is all the shapes that you're cutting is, in my work, I never throw anything away, because I bet like you guys, you can always see something useful in the scraps as well. So these kind of things, I might start using these for plants at the bottom, the little scraps, or I might stick them onto another tree for other bits of branches. So this is just your chance to really play and think about the backdrop. Before we do the very last piece, which is the centrepiece, I'm just going to shut my card. The reason I'm shutting my card is to see if there's any bits like this sticking out. And that's because what we want is that when someone, or if we were to show our card to a friend, that they wouldn't know what was hiding inside. So I'm just looking for any bits that stick out, and I'm just cutting them off so that we end up having a really nice kind of edge with no sticky out bits. And that's particularly important when we do the last bit. So here is my my forest, and I'm ready now to put the centrepiece in, and I wanted to have a really, really big yellow tree. I thought that would look pretty cool. But the thing is, when I made it, before I stuck it on, I kind of put it on and then I shut the card, and you'll see when the card is shut, the top of the trees is actually sticking out because I've made my tree too big. We need to think about this size here, this length here. We need to make sure that nothing, our centrepiece, isn't longer than that, because otherwise it sticks out once it's shut and it ruins that kind of amazing surprise of the forest hiding in. So rather than that size tree, I made just a little slightly shorter one. I could have also just chopped off a bit off there. And I checked before I stuck it down. I checked, and you can see from the fold of your piece to the top of the tree, it fits in. So when it's stuck down, I'll get some glue. I'll put some glue on the back. I'll stick it nice and straight onto our little pop-up mechanism that we've made. And you're just sticking it onto the front face here, this bit there. Rather than, you don't stick anything on the top, you just stick it onto that front fold there, so that when it's closed, nothing's sticking out, perfect. And then when we open it up, cha-ding, our tree pokes out. Great, thanks a lot everyone. What a good afternoon I've had making this for you. I thought I'll finish off just showing you some of the examples that I had such fun making. So we've got this one. So you'll see my front piece is just stuck on that one there, and then we've got loads of textures and colours. We've got this one, which you guys will have sort of be quite familiar with because it's the one that I've been working on. So you've just got, again, one sole tree in the middle. Or this one, which is the one where it has 1, 2, 3 different sized little pieces, and when we open it up, we get this amazing kind of depth of a rainforest. The best thing, one of my favourite things about these pop-up cards, is that they can slot really easily into an envelope. You could decorate the front, you could stick something over if you didn't want people to see that little notch. You could have something stuck over the front, a nice little image, and you could write a letter. Maybe you want to send it to a friend or a grandparent, someone who loves your work and would probably, I mean, who wouldn't love a rainforest appearing in the post? So also, if you've enjoyed what you've done today, we would love to see your work. That's one of my favourite bits of working at the Baltic, is getting to see all the amazing creations you guys do. So if you want to, if you could post it with a hashtag on any social media with balticconnect and share it with us, that would be amazing. But enjoy your pop-up rainforest and look forward to seeing all your wonderful creations. Bye bye.